Hey guys, my name is Matt Hernandez. Today we're on location with the football player using the FJ400 and high-speed sync. The reason you would use high-speed sync is to increase the camera's normal maximum sync speed. So I shoot Nikon on all my cameras. The max sync speed is 1/250th of a second. That's not fast enough to freeze action, especially for somebody like a football player that's going to be moving very fast. So that's going to allow us to raise the shutter speed faster, which is going to do two things. It's going to freeze the action, and it's going to also darken the ambient light. So we're out here around 9 o'clock in the morning. It's really bright. I'm gonna shoot at 1/4000th of a second. That's gonna allow us to darken the background really nice, and we're gonna get some highlights on the stadium because the sun's on the opposite side, but it's not gonna be so bright that it would be distracting. If you didn't use high-speed sync and I was only shooting at 1/250th, I'd have to shoot at a higher f-stop, which would mean there would be a lot more in focus. So you can see we have a big pad pulled out. I always want my athletes to be safe. That's the number one thing. I want a diving picture where Franklin's gonna be diving at me, and I want him to be fully extended. So we want that pad underneath him so he can land on it safely every time. We've got two lights. They're pretty much opposite each other, cross-lighting. We've got two collapsible beauty dishes with silver interior. The silver is important here because we want the output of the strobes to be at maximum capacity, so that silver interior versus the white is going to make it a lot more specular, which is going to allow us to raise our shutter speed even higher, or f-stop, so we can darken the ambient more and light him up. So I'm using the wide angle lens, my 24-70. I want to go as wide as possible. I'm going to shoot this at 24 because I want to get the stands behind him and a lot of sky to make it more dramatic. And also when I shoot wider, whatever's closer to the camera is going to be distorted. So on a few shots, I'm going to have him extend the ball towards me, which is going to make it look bigger and more dramatic. We also have the deflector plates put inside the beauty dishes. That allows us to have even more output because the light's essentially going to flash off that, reflect into the back silver interior, and then spread out. And another reason we're using the beauty dishes is because they do have somewhat of a directional output because of the way they're made. They're more deep, so that the light's going to be more focused on the subject. That's going to allow us to have a smaller range of area that he can go, but it's also going to increase the output to put all the light in one spot. So whenever I shoot dramatic action shots like this with athletes, I like to use this cross-lighting setup because it creates a key light and an edge light, basically. We're gonna have one light behind them and one more in front, both at about 45-degree angles, and it's important to have them separated enough where they're almost exactly opposite each other. That's gonna allow a little bit of shadow to creep in between, and that's gonna make it have more dimension and drama. With strobes, normally you have a refresh rate between shots of anywhere between 2 and 4 seconds. One of the great things about the FJ400 is the refresh rate is actually less than a second at full power, which is pretty rare. So that means you could fire off a couple shots relatively quickly, which you could utilize in a situation like this. I'm not necessarily going to use it in this situation because he's diving. I'm probably only going to take one shot, but it's nice to know that capability is there if I do need it. One thing I do in a situation like this also when I'm taking action shots of an athlete is I have them repeat the movement, whatever it is, over and over and over without me really telling them to do anything. I just tell them to keep doing it. And the advantage to that is because a lot of times the first couple shots may not look 100% real. They may not go 100% speed, or they're going to know they're getting their photograph made, basically. So they may not act like they would in a game. But after they do it a few times, then they kind of start to relax and just focus on the movement, and it starts to look more real. Make sure and let us know which situations you'd utilize high-speed sync in the comments below. And if you're interested in seeing more education like this, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.